Hi there, Cancer. Thank you for joining me for your monthly forecast for October. The influences come thick and fast this month, particularly in week 1, but there is something that happened on the last day of last month which is still very significant. The full moon then saw a combination between the moon and Uranus. This is a very restless, volatile combination, and it's possible that you could encounter something as you come into the new month which rocks you back on your heels somewhat. It could be change going on at work. It may be about trying to desperately balance your work-life situation, which we all know just seems to get harder and harder. Or it could be that someone in the family needs your support. Or you may be asked suddenly to do extra overtime, which impacts on the amount of time you can spend at home doing the things you really want to do. But there's a lot of change, and one of the good things that emerges almost straight away is that Venus moves into the part of your scope to do with communication. And this can give you a wonderful added dimension over the next 28 days. It can see you being very, very charming. And not to say that you can't be charming already, but somewhere along the line, someone's going to be really taken with the way you express yourself, not just your ideas, the actual sound of your voice. If you love singing, doing karaoke, this too could see you doing a star turn and getting a lot of acclaim. But there is the change of Mercury too. And Mercury moves into the part of your horoscope that's to do with creativity, and that's a good thing. It's been going through an area where it's none too comfortable. So this emergence can help you to click into gear, to feel more outgoing, although the sun does continue in this more reflective area. Now then, the next thing that happens very, very quickly is that Saturn moves on the 6th into Scorpio, your sister water sign. Now Saturn has been working its way through the last 2.5 years, your sector of home, family, emotions, and something around those situations has probably been quite heavy going at times. Perhaps you've had to learn quite a lot about your own emotional needs. Perhaps you've made some physical changes to where you live, actually moving altogether, or you've had to make some repairs. Or perhaps there have been people around you, close to you, who've been going through the mill and you've had to give them a lot of support. So it hasn't been easy, but Saturn moving into your 5th solar house is not a walk in the park either. But before you get really disappointed, we all need to be realistic about Saturn. It will just keep teaching us lessons. It's not going to suddenly stop. It just carries on, but it affects things in a different way. And it's saying to you, if you have any latent qualities, flair, artistry, skills that you're not using fully, its combination with Mercury is saying to you, look Cancer, it's time that you really did start to express yourself and show people how talented you really are. So in other words, take the qualities that you have inside of yourself more seriously. But it can also make love a little bit more serious too. But then in week 2, we actually have a very bubbly link between Jupiter and also the Sun, which suggests that you can make some changes to where you live at home, and there can be it's a brilliant time to get together with a family reunion, for example. Mars also moves, and it moves into an area which can give you a lot of extra physical drive and energy, and it can see you work very hard this month, certainly for the rest of October. And then in the middle of the month, I think really this is the final signing off point of Saturn, as there is a new moon in your sector of home, family, emotions, and all the things that you've learnt over the last 2.5 years can really crystallise in your mind if you've really taken the lessons of Saturn on board. If you haven't, there may still be an opportunity to embrace its influence, even though it's actually moved on. It's still going to leave an echo. There's still going to be events that you've been through that Saturn has affected. There's going to be a legacy. It could be how it's affected the people around you. And then in week 3, we see the Sun move, and it moves into Scorpio, and ordinarily this would be great. It makes you much more conscious of your need to be expressive, to have fun, sociable, make the romantic side of your life come to life, but it is met almost immediately by Saturn. And for 4 days, well, the Sun and Saturn are close together, and you might actually feel pretty short of energy, and you might think, ooh, something's changing here, and not quite be able to work out what it is. But it's just asking you to take those qualities, those skills more seriously. If you have kids, to take the things that amuse them more seriously, work a little bit harder. I know that's a very easy thing to say if you're acting as their taxi driver, but if you are being perhaps a little bit passive to their needs, push them to express their qualities. And then romantically, if you have been just sort of floating along in a situation, you might actually want to make this a more serious, more permanent relationship. But with Jupiter going opposite Mars in the last week of this month, the temptation to splash out on a big ticket item could be very hard to resist, even if you're someone who ordinarily is quite frugal. Thank you for joining me. Good luck and goodbye for now.